The other thing that makes the city really crazy is that not only are there just so many more women than men, I cannot fathom how any single man watching this doesn't live in Vegas. I literally cannot fathom how you live anywhere else. I just don't understand.
At this point, it's been all about dude power, right? Let's talk about that, man, because like one of the things I'll tell you about Las Vegas that, me and my wife talk about a lot is it's like, if you're in Vegas is like a vacuum. Like you got to go, like if you're a woman in this town, this is coming from don't call me a sexist, people. Don't save your shitty comments. My wife says this stuff. But if you're in Vegas, if you don't wrap a dude down pretty quick that's in that upper echelon, you're going to age out quick.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think
because a lot of these girls are like, I want this guy that makes all this money, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but now he's got Peter Pan syndrome and he's skipped down.
Bro.
He's after the 24-year-old. He's not after the 34-year-old.
Yeah, it's not fair here.
No,
here it's like I do nothing, and I was dating hotter girls than I'd ever dating. You know, whatever, going to a club on stage and whatever happens. Partying with the hotter girls than I'd ever been with my entire life. And there's so many more women than men here. It's like, it's the opposite. The dating app is 6 times as many dudes as women. Like nightlife industry in Vegas, it's 6 times as many women as men.
It's hard.
So it's just so easy. And like, it was one of these, so going back to what you're saying, but what we were talking about before, these women would find out that it was like like 0.6% of men met their criteria for 6'3" and 100K. And then we would look at the women. And of course, as men, we do not care about income or height. That's really big because we don't care about income and we don't care about height. No. So it was 14% of the female population versus 0.6% of the male population. And these women, they were going to lock these dudes down. And going back to what you said, in LA, I think it's different. I actually like in LA, women get treated pretty well and dudes get treated like trash. In Vegas, it's the opposite. Men get treated very well here. If you're a local and you go out on a regular basis, you get comps all the time. It's like women actually get treated kind of like cattle here. And then especially like in a couple of weeks, we've got the tryouts for all the nightlife groups. 8,000 girls are going to show up for realistically, I'm not even kidding here. There will be 60, maybe 50 new cocktail servers hired in the entire city. And I'm talking about of the top pools.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Each pool has 40 girls and most of the girls get called back. So an individual pool might hire anywhere from like 7 to 2 girls per year. And so you add up all the pools and then the pools kind of like sometimes feed into the nightclubs. We're talking about less than 60 girls. 8,000 girls will show up. 60 will get hired.
For those of you listening to us from places
it's easier
not
to get
Las
into
Vegas.
Yeah, it's easier to get in. I saw a study. It's easier to get into Yale or Harvard than it is to become a top-tier bottle service girl in Las Vegas.
Because those girls, in case you're just wondering, make $250,000 a year.
Yes, so 250, 260 is not uncommon.
And work how many days a week? 3 days a week? 4 days a week?
They work 4 days a week. And then if you work at the pool, you make more per shift, but you only work 8 months.
Yeah. My wife, when we got together, worked at the Palms. She opened the Palms. And she had the main blackjack pit from noon to 8 Monday through Friday. That was just like banker's hour shifts. She made $250,000 and normally only worked 3, maybe 4 days.
She's not walking around in a bikini at a pool.
No.
She's doing like gambling. You understand.
No, but still, she still had her ass hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what cocktail
But the thing, like
a gladiator outfit, whenever it was.
The other thing that makes the city really crazy is that not only are there just so many more women than men, I cannot fathom how any single man watching this doesn't live in Vegas. I literally cannot fathom how you live anywhere else. I just don't understand. But anyway, going back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
The other thing that makes the city so disproportionate is the average man's job here, whether it be construction, VIP host, works and services, he's going to make somewhere between 60 and 100K. And the women that are the commiserate women are making 200K working at the Rhino. They're either a cocktail server, a dancer, they work in gambling, or, they're a female bartender, they're making 200K. So a lot of times you'll have a woman who's making 240 a year dating a busser who's making 60. She's making 4X.
But his band's gonna take off any day, Michael.
Exactly.
Any day.
Yeah, his OnlyFans management agency. This is gonna be the idea. Did you hear about his new NFT, John? This is the way. This NFT's the one.
His Call of Duty team's gonna get the call
for sure. His esports team. It's always like that. It's like it's a very. If you ever have a former cocktail server on here, ask her about the trope of the cocktail server who makes $240 a year, leaving her fucking plastic surgeon boyfriend to date the busser. I don't know how, but it keeps keeps happening over and over again. It's just so funny that it's just one of the tropes that happens here. But it's just like there's a mismatch that goes back. Remember the original thing we talked about.
So, but here's the problem though. How long? Okay, look, because if you're that type of financial disparity between the man and the woman, I'm all about whoever wants to bring money to the house, God bless, bring it in. But I also think that it screws up the dichotomy of the relationship. I think if you're the man, I think it's got to burn you a little. Like I can never imagine just like chilling at home and having.
What does it say in the Bible? It's like it is better to be a non-believer than to not be able to provide for your family.
Yeah, dude.
It seems like they had that figured out 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, I retired my wife 11 years ago.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I just can't even imagine.
So it's one of these situations where it's absolutely, I encourage, if women want to work, that's fine. What they find is that in the workforce, I don't know if you've seen this study, 83% of women said that if they had the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mother, they would have chosen 83%. Take that, feminists. Yeah. How you like that one? Yeah, exactly. How does that one taste?
And that's what me and my wife did, because it was important to both of us that I call it the peanut butter and jelly mom. When I was growing up, like my mom worked and, my parents were split up, but, you had that one house in the neighborhood where there was like that one mom that would make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for all the kids while they were playing football in the front yard. That's what we wanted my wife to be, and that's what she wanted to do.
For sure.
So it's been great for my kids.
For sure.
Super distant, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
But so you have that opportunity for some women to want to go do that. What they found, and this was first presented to me by Rollo Tomasi, he's one of my best friends. He's my co-host partner on Access Vegas. Rollo was saying something to the effect of one of the number one precipitators of divorce is when a woman starts making more money than a man. And so you're thinking about like she gets promoted at her law firm and she makes more money than him. Yep. That is a precipitator. But what he actually really means is the man loses his job. And so now she makes any money, even if she's a bus driver, she makes more money than he does. And so that's generally the precipitator of divorce. When you ask women, did you leave your man because he didn't have any money? They never say that's the reason. They say, ready for it? We grew apart.
Yeah, financially.
We grew apart. That's essentially what they said. Because that's the thing, like as men, we have to be open and honest about why we had to fire. We have a thing called fired with cause, right? If we fire someone for no reason, they can sue us.
Yeah.
That right? So we understand as men, for us to terminate a relationship, we need a clear understanding, a legal understanding. Women don't need that. Women just break up in relationships and say, we grew apart. Or they say he wasn't ambitious enough. No, he got fat and he didn't have a nice job. And you worked in a place where you were surrounded by men who were better looking, taller, and made more money. And you got tired of the shit he was saying. So you fucking monkey branch to another dude, and that's fine. But for some reason, women won't admit that that's what they're doing, and that's fine that you're doing that. Evolution made it that way. Men look at numbers of attractive young women, and they want to have sex with all those young women. And if they had the ability to, they'd all end up becoming Dan Bilzerian. Not all of them, but a lot of them would become like something like that. There's another study where it's like the number of men who wish they had more sexual partners was like outrageously high. So there's a group of men that have a ton of sexual partners, and then there's a group of men below them that don't, but wish they did, right? For women, they ask, do you wish you had more sexual partners? And of course, most women say, no, they don't wish they had more sexual partners, right? It's much less.
Okay, but do they mean that, or do they just don't want to tell... They don't want to vocalize that because they get slut shamed.
So the thing is, men are definitely more interested in casual sex than women, and they've done studies. So like one of the best studies I've ever seen is look at gay men in the Castro. There were men out there that were averaging 300 different partners per year. Averaging. Jeez. So like when you want to look at the male libido completely unchecked, it looks like 300 partners a year. I don't care. I know girls who do porn and I know girls who escort, and none of them want 300 partners in a year. None of them. At most they want 4, maybe 3, and they want the guys to be really good looking. And then on top of that, you know what else they want? They want attention from 100 other men who they aren't sleeping with. That's what women generally want. That it just doesn't, women, because of oxytocin release, they generally are not as interested in casual sex.